And now we move to the start of the Prince Albert with the University of Surrey and Drexel University of the United States of America.
And University of Surrey is a very young program, and some guys have just learned to row at the university, rowing for a couple of years, and managed to get into this boat and get themselves racing at the Royal Regatta. Drexel, a slightly more experienced crew, and were victorious in the Dadvale Regatta in the US earlier this summer.
And this is some great steering here from the Drexel University crew. Obviously, these 2-4s have coxswains on board in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup, which does make life a little bit easier. But we've seen a lot of crews pulled out as they go past Temple Island. But I think a good preemptive response there from the coxswain in the bow. We can see the little head there of the coxswain in the bow end of the Drexel University crew on screen closest to us, but it looks like the University of Surrey in the Berkshire station are starting to move back up, and it is a tight race as we move to the live shots now.
It is, they've really got back on terms. Drexel got a good start, but even there, before we switched the view, it seemed like Surrey had a slightly better pace and were moving themselves back. And here, hard to see from the angle, but it's definitely pretty level.
Yeah, it looks like a longer, lower rate of striking from the Drexel University crew on the left-hand side of your screen. Surrey, they've got the beat up a little bit higher, a little bit more aggressive, but both crews currently matched. Yeah,
it's doing very well, and it's just Cox 4 is a heavy boat, and often the stroke rate's a bit lower in the Cox 4 compared to the Cox's 4s, and you just have to, generally the bigger guys row in this boat and just use your length and power. So it'd be nice to get a side view to see how it looks like they're very level down here. Maybe Drexel slightly ahead.
Yes, looks like Drexel have just an ever so slight, maybe a canvas or a harp boat length lead over Surrey, University of Surrey at this stage. In the University of Surrey crew, Adam Miller, Jonas Berfilis, Alex Law, Kieran Dibley, and the coxswain Victoria Angus. They'll be desperately trying to stay in contention for this race.
And this Drexel crew is the second crew they have here. They have in the Temple, which is their first crew. So this crew is doing very well as a second boat. They come all the way from the US to compete.
And in terms of weight, both of these crews are fairly similar. The University of Surrey, they're 80 kilos. And the average weight of the Drexel University crew, only 81 kilos. So quite light, I think, for a Cox 4. Generally, you see the bigger, stronger rowers in that boat, but
maybe that's just indicative of the fact that they're the second crew, the bigger guys maybe in the 8 that's racing in the Temple.
That's right.
But Drexel have done a good job through that middle portion and got themselves to half, 3/4 of a length clear, and rowing in a consistent manner. Nice, long. Surrey gonna have to fight hard to try and do something here, but they look like the blade work's struggling a little bit, and they look very tired now. But what a great experience for those guys. They've only been rowing for a couple of years, and they managed to come here and race competitively at their first regatta.
Yes, we can see the University of Surrey there really starting to fatigue now. And it is hard with a coxswain in the boat. When that boat speed does start to drop off, when you fatigue, it really does seem to all land on you in one hit. You know,
and especially
not,
the
not
blade
like
work,
any other boat.
and especially when the blade work starts to go and the timing goes off,
That's
then
right.
You're all picking it up on your own, then it's a hard way.
But I think that they've done a really good job here against Drexel University. They put themselves out there in the early stages of the race, but the blade work just starting to fall apart, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And Drexel is still having to work hard to stay where they are. We've had a couple of easier races earlier where the crews really have backed off. Drexel really are not in that position. They need to stay on it to stay ahead. Yeah, and you can see there just bodies moving around a little bit in the Surrey crew, and the blade work, and the blades a little bit high. Just under pressure now and tired.
And now the crews are just starting to approach the enclosures. We can hear some cheering from the locals for the University of Surrey, but it will be a tough ask to come back against this almost 2-length lead now to the Drexel University crew from the United States.
Yeah, and Drexel are rowing well. They're keeping the pressure on their legs at the beginning of the stroke. The blades are going in nice and early, so they're still rowing in a pretty efficient manner and should take them through to the finish. It's a great view there, isn't it, with the enclosures behind.
And it's what makes this event so special, and we're sending these pictures out around the world via YouTube and around the UK on BT Sport and YouTube, and it's just such an incredible event. You know, coming from Australia, I've raced here only the once, but This is my third time to Henley now, and it's unlike anything else that I've ever been to.
It is spectacular. And if you ever train here in the winter, none of this infrastructure is here, none of the booms. It's like a normal river, and you struggle to see where all the infrastructure goes. And then sort of middle of the spring, little bits and bobs start appearing, and then suddenly it's incredible.
But for rowers and non-rowers alike, it is a spectacle unlike any other, especially watching this match racing, these grudge matches that unfold. And as we get through the days, the racing gets tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
But they come past the enclosures now, and we can hear the crowd starting to cheer on the crews.
That's one of the advantages the American crews have coming here. They have a lot of experience in match racing within the universities, whereas not many other programs around the world have that much match racing side by side.
That's right, and it takes a certain skill set to be able to hold your own in a match race as well. It is an intensely psychological.
Yeah, it is, very much so. But slower crews can win if they get the psychology right.
And we see there the win in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup going to Drexel University of the United States of America. Hello to those in the US watching us. You'll be very happy to see that win, no doubt, over the University of Surrey.